Our whole country will end up being like Detroit if she's your president.
I understand what Trump said. With that comment, he's looking at the blight of the houses that have not been torn down or anything like that, the abandoned factories that have yet to have been cleaned up.
Why didn't he say that?
Donald Trump, at his age, he's had the eloquent speaking sessions of his life and all that.
You're saying
he doesn't give a right now.
We're past prime eloquence, Donald Trump.
Right.
Wait, when were we ever in prime eloquence, Donald Trump? When was that? When was that time? For the past 8 years, Daily Show correspondent Jordan Klepper has traveled the country, attending dozens of MAGA rallies and interviewing hundreds of Trump supporters. And in 8 years, a lot has changed. Trump himself is more unfocused and fatigued and bizarre. He toggles back and forth between overt fascism and color commentary about sharks, Hannibal Lecter, and Arnold Palmer's genitalia. That's what's really happening. Parallel to that, shall we call it evolution, Trump's supporters have become more extreme themselves.
Back-to-back catastrophic hurricanes can't tell me that they didn't have a hand in that.
The Democrats are controlling the weather?
The government.
So if Trump gets in office, he'll have control over the weather.
Well, they will pass on the torch, I assume.
I have some people coming up saying Trump's a time traveler.
I haven't heard.
Wait, I haven't heard the time traveler
He
one.
turned his head before the bullet hit his ear.
So people
Tracks.
It does. So he came back.
Tracks 100%.
You know what I mean?
He'd already been there once before.
If that's the case, he must know that he won because he decided to run for president again.
I think he knows he's going to win this time.
That's why he's so angry about the idea, like, if I don't win, it's because you guys cheated because I'm a time traveler. I've seen it all. Is this the kind of stuff you're usually hearing when you're...
Oh, yes.
We can't be the most far out theory of the day.
No, you're not.
No. How much for the Kamala toilet paper?
Democrats control the weather, and Donald Trump is a time traveler. Now, Trump rallies have always been an ecosystem unto themselves, but this year they really feel like an ecosystem on Mars.
I was curious what news sources you guys follow and which ones you do trust.
I ask questions from my Lord above.
Yeah.
And honestly, I get a lot of stuff from X.
So God and Twitter.
The Daily Show's Jordan Klepper has been attending Trump rallies for nearly a decade, and he's still standing. While some things about Trump rallies remain the same in 2024, others are different, like J.D. Vance is now on the ticket, and Elon Musk has joined the MAGAverse, and Democrats can now control the weather, and Donald Trump is a time traveler. Joining me now is The Daily Show's Jordan Klepper. His new special, The Daily Show Presents Jordan Klepper Fingers the Pulse. Rally Together, thanks for making me say that, Jordan, is available now on Paramount Plus as well as Comedy Central's website and The Daily Show's YouTube channel. It's basically everywhere. Jordan, I want to get all your thoughts.
Sure. Let's get into it.
So, you know, you're a seasoned vet of MAGA land.
I've been there. I've been to the world. I bought the T-shirt. I've tried to return the T-shirt. They don't take kindly. They just give me another one, take it back.
Size.
Yeah, different size, larger and larger.
Long sleeved. This one has a crew neck, not a V-neck. Jamel Bouie writes in the New York Times, far from showing strength, he's writing about the MSG, the Madison Square Garden rally.
Yep.
But he says, far from showing strength, the Madison Square Garden rally showed that the MAGA movement is a spent and exhausted force, even if it is not yet defeated. I sort of wonder, as you go to these events, whether that comports with the reality that you're witnessing. I mean, does it feel like a movement that has lost steam, that is more carnival than it is political movement?
Well, I do feel like the circus has come through town many times now, and people are still coming out to see the three-armed man, still telling themselves lies that that's not a prosthetic, that is a third arm indeed. But we are seeing less and less people there. The diehards, they are there. We're seeing a lot of people who have been to 93 rallies, and they keep going to more and more rallies. It's like the deadheads. The deadheads are still going to deadhead.
Right.
And I think hearing those details about the MSG rally, that's what I saw as well. It's impressive to fill an arena, but filling an arena full of New Jersey folks isn't going to win an election. Just ask the Jets. I think what I saw at that event was Donald Trump looking small. And it's the people that he brought up with him.
Yeah.
And if you're presenting to the world your final case, and the best thing you have to offer is Dr. Phil and Hulk Hogan, these D-listers who are out there, and just anger and bad jokes that don't play, and jokes that are offensive and racist and feel like mad scribblings on a bathroom wall by mediocre men, Well, if that's your final offer, that's your party, that's your team, what do you got? And so I see that, and it's 18,000 people, but somehow he made 18,000 people and the whole event and the whole party seem tiny.
Yeah. You know, we were talking before the segment began about the comedian who made the most racist, garbage comments at the Garden rally. And you were saying you know this guy, Tony Hinchcliffe. Am I getting that right, Control Room? Am I getting that right, Jordan?
Tony Hinchcliffe, yeah. I don't know him personally.
But you're familiar with his work, right? Like,
yeah.
This guy is not this wasn't a secretly or a surprisingly virulent set that he did.
No, this is, I think, if you're hiring Tony Hinchcliffe or asking him to be a part of your show, this is what you're expecting. It's not as if anybody's shocked that Hulk Hogan ripped his shirt off. That's what he does. Tony Hinchcliffe told roast jokes. He's a roast comedian who tells those types of jokes. I think what's shocking is that these things are usually happening in a small Austin comedy club or in the back rooms at MAGA events. But this happened in Madison Square Garden, and in front of him it said Trump Vance. And suddenly the secret's out.
Yeah.
It's laughable to me that folks like Donald Trump didn't know what they were getting there. Pretend. Of course, they pretend. We're just joking. We didn't know. No, you know. I know. And I'm not vetting this whole thing.
We're told, for people who aren't at these rallies and aren't familiar with Tony's sets down in Austin, that this is the kind of stuff that resonates with young men, that this is part of the Manoverse, that like Dana White and Hulk Hogan may seem passé or sort of like weird sideshows, but this is what's ginning up a whole generation of young men who feel marginalized. When you talk, you're there at the rallies, you see who's going, you see what the sort of enthusiasm level is like. Is that assessment of the merit or the value of these people at those events?
I mean,
correct?
This excites some men. Not all men. I mean, kind of the worst men. Not to be pejorative about it, but if this is what gets you going, I think you need a hobby, learn how to play guitar. I do have empathy for.
But you see this resonating with young men at those MAGA rallies.
Yes, there is a world. I think MAGA rallies have evolved. Perhaps that's devolved might be a better terminology there. But part of the excitement at a MAGA rally is the rebellious nature. Rebelling against what? I think sometimes that's very ill-defined. But people like the trolling elements. They buy T-shirts to make people angry.
Kamala Harris toilet paper.
They want Kamala Harris toilet paper. It's more akin to a rebellious teenager who wants to TP the front yard.
Right.
And that energy exists. And so they want somebody to say something untoward. And that, of course, might play with a dirty, dark joke like that. But it's so surprising to see it when you're like, oh, but this is not the back rooms at some comedy club.
Yeah.
This is somebody asking for your vote and your support.
Wait, yeah, and you also want to win over Latino men, Latino women, the Latino vote, period. This isn't going to help you do that, no. In addition to being just explicitly racist. You mentioned the kind of like trolling the libs aspect to all of this. And we played some sound of these Trump supporters saying, with straight faces, Donald Trump may be a time traveler or Democrats can control the weather. Is that you're up close with these folks. Is that more sort of like trolling the libs, owning the libs and saying outlandish things? Or do you genuinely think that kind of disinformation is like implanted itself in their brains? I think at that point, it's not about what the truth of that situation is. They're not seeking truth, they're seeking comfort. And so the weather conversation is they've morphed their worldview around this idea that everything is us versus them. And so literally air is now something that has to be them and not us. And so it's not a discussion over what they truly believe, because at that point it's almost so muddy. They believe most in winning, most in Donald Trump, and so they comport these worldviews to that. And Donald Trump gives them just enough rope to hang themselves in the proverbial bad information world. Do you when you have conversations, because, I mean, whatever happens on November 5th, the country presumably is going to stay the United States of America. And I wonder, like, sort of, what is it when you get out of a cult? Like, there's certain ways to bring people back into society. And I wonder if there are any sort of devices or tricks you've learned to help, people who are so deeply embedded in the cult of MAGA come back, or at least see a light at the end of that tunnel that may be, in fact, the truth. I mean, is there a way to approach these folks?
The short answer, no. But
really, Well,
I'm not seeing a lot of change, but to be fair, I'm not going out there trying to change people's mind. I will say, though, in this special that I did, we brought somebody, Edward, who I'd seen at a bunch of rallies, been to 93 Trump rallies. We brought him to a Kamala Harris rally because he had never been. And from his perspective, everybody at a Kamala Harris rally is a paid actor. They don't believe anything they talk about. We bring him to a Kamala event, and he's critical, he's trolly, but he's a good-natured person. I truly like Edward. He feels like your uncle. And over time, through exposure, through engaging in conversations, and through talking one-on-one, he didn't change his mind, but he at least thought, there's a movement here. It's not my movement, but there's a movement here. Because it's so hard.
People who are not lizard people.
They're not lizard people. They're real people. You talk to them. The internet is not a real place. If you look at somebody face to face and want to troll them, it's super hard. It's so easy to troll from the confines of the internet or even the quaintness of MSG if it's just your pals around it. If you're face to face with people, I truly believe you can connect and help that person. And I think that's built into a lot of this MAGA-ness. What is the phrase? Like, dictators prey on loneliness.
Yeah.
And we see that. So I think you have to deal with the loneliness, and that may provide a path out of that into some light.
That is very, very wise and very reflective, Jordan. I shouldn't sound
I've been through the fire, Alex. I've been through the fire.
Jordan Klepper with The Daily Show. Thank you again, Jordan.
Thanks for having me.
Great work out there, man. Thank you for what you're doing. The Daily Show presents Jordan Klepper, Fingers the Pulse, Rally Together, and yes, that is available on Paramount Plus. Thanks, Jordan. It's great to see you.